أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم من همسه ونفخه ونفخه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي بجاه سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى يا معلم آدم علمنا ويا مفهم سليمان فهمنا يا معلم آدم علمنا ويا مفهم سليمان فهمنا يا معلم آدم علمنا ويا مفهم سليمان فهمنا بكرامة وعلمك ما لم تكن تعلم وكان فضل الله عليك عظيما الحمد لله رب العالمين. We give all glories and thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We adore to him all beautiful glorifications and all forms of praises. He is worthy of them and he owns them. We ask him to further shower his blessings and mercies in abundance upon the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household, companions, and followers until the day of reckoning. وبعد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Greetings of peace to all listeners and viewers wherever and whenever you are. We welcome ourselves to the 14th day of Ramadan, 1444, equivalent to 5th of April, 2023. Under the Ramadan daily spiritual delicacies. Today, inshallah, we are treating and discussing Aphorism number 12 of the 264 Sufi spiritual aphorisms of AtaiLlahi Al-Sakandari. This aphorism is a further clarification of the one we treated yesterday, by which says, "Idfin wujudaka fi ardil khumul, fama nabata mimma lam yudfan la yatimmu natajuhu." So that was tagged as personality obscurity. Personality obscurity or individual obscurity. Okay, so that it was tagged as that on the recording. Today, the stanza or the aphorism reads such. Although it seems short, but the benefit and the message it entails is huge. ما نفع القلب مثل عزلة يدخل بها ميدان فكرة. Again, The aphorism reads, ما نفع القلب مثل عزلة يدخل بها ميدان فكرة. If we put a fa'il after al-qalba, there is a fa'il muqaddar, but we can surface that fa'il by putting shay'un. So then we can read ما نفع القلب شيء مثل عزلة يدخل بها ميدان فكرة. It can be read as such. So we know what al-qalbu is, and there are only two words here that need clarification, and they are uzla and maidan. Uzla, that is, yesterday we talked about al-khumul, obscurity. So uzla could be another Sufi terminology for al-khumul. Uzla is opposite of al-mujahara, or al-zuhur. So it is simply, in a very simple English, it can be referred to as retreat. And in a Sufi form, we can call it isolation. Okay, isolation. So in zoological terminology, we can refer to it as hibernation. Okay, so any of these three words can be used: retreat, isolation, or hibernation. They go well for the translation of Muslim. Maidan, on the other hand, can also be synonymous to majal, area or discipline, okay, or very simply domain, okay, the area, the specialization, the field, okay, majal, okay. But here we prefer to use it as domain or the field. Okay. Now the translation of the stanza. ما نفع القلب شيء مثل عزلة يدخل بها ميدان فكرة. In a very simple translation, it reads as, nothing benefits the heart more than a spiritual retreat, wherein it enters the domain of meditation. Again, the translation. Nothing benefits the heart more than a spiritual retreat, wherein it enters the domain of meditation. Domain of meditation, meaning Maidan Fikra. Maidan Fikra, domain of meditation. So that is the translation of the aphorism. Nothing benefits the heart more than a spiritual retreat wherein it enters the domain of meditation. Now, the concept here, generally and conceptually, is just an extension of the previous aphorism that encourages al-khumula, okay, which encourages obscurity, okay, that when we are seeking the true path of Allah towards the divine presence, we should prefer personal obscurity leading to a retreat from the general public and people. A retreat that is isolating oneself from the public eyes and faces. So one facet of that is avoiding show-off, avoiding seeking for fame and popularity. And the other facet is to be saved from people's trouble and worries and material attachment. Okay? As well as unnecessary popularization. So that is, these are some of the concepts in the aphorism. Okay? Because, as it says here, when we are alone, this uzla is not just to isolate oneself, as it is the case nowadays. Particularly people will be preparing for i'tikaf very soon. Today is the 14th of Ramadan, and in about a week or so, people will be preparing to go into i'tikaf, spiritual Ramadan retreat or isolation in the mosque or somewhere. Now, when we are in that kind of isolation or uzla or i'tikaf, if we prefer to call it, use Ramadan terminology, so it is to be used for spiritual and religious purposes, not to be in i'tikaf and hang on social media. So that is the point we are drawing out here. So when we are in i'tikaf, so we are supposed to be mu'takif anil khalqi, mu'azzala anil khalqi. We are supposed to be to engage in self-retreat from all worldly and material communication. So it is not that you are in i'tikaf and you are 1 second ago you were seen and visible on WhatsApp, on Telegram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on all the social media issues. You call every second, you are on call, you are on, no. And you have on your screen, you are on YouTube, you watch this, you watch that, you respond even to attacks on social media. No, that is not the uzla that is expected of a seeker of the truth. So the kind of uzla that we're talking about here, it is the type of retreat and isolation and hibernation that leads towards the area of meditation, that leads towards the domain, the field of meditating the names of Allah, in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where we concentrate fully and we are attentive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in communication through its words, recitation of Quran, the reading of azkars, okay, that pulls the mind and heart and body and souls towards the divine presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this will be a fruitful isolation and retreat. Okay? Although some scholars scholastically give some rooms and reasons and rooms for using cell phone, telephone, communication, social media while we are in itikaf. Well, that they have their own point of view. But in this point of view, in the point of view of this aphorism, nothing of such uh, should be entertained. We look at great scholars of Islam and others. So they went into isolation and retreat for them to be able to produce magnanimous writings that they left behind them. Imam Al-Ghazali, of an example, went into self-exile where he was known to no one. And that was where he produced the magnum opus Ihya Ulumuddin that we take as a source of reference up to today. Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Khaldun, all of them. We go to the Western world, we talk of René Descartes, we talk of Immanuel Kant, we talk of Francis Bacon, we talk of all of them, philosophers and scientists. We talk of Ibn Haytham, we talk of Al-Kindi, we talk of Al-Farabi, we talk of Ibn Sina, we talk of Ibn Rushdi, we talk of them. They all engaged in spiritual isolations and retreats for them to remain in the book of remembrance that we hold them today. So for us to be useful and fruitful, we are encouraged to engage into Uzla. Now, let's read from the interpretation and explanation of the author and editor, Sheikh Abdul Majid Sharnobi. He says, أي ما نفع قلب المريد شيء من الأشياء المطهرة له من الغفلات مثل عزلة عن الخلق. Nothing, okay, nothing purifies, okay. So he agrees that there are several things that can purify the heart of a seeker of truth. There are some things that are cleanser and purifiers of the heart from forgetfulness. And all of these purifiers and cleansers, none of them works or performs wonder as much as Uzla anil Khaliki. Okay? None of them works wonder or performs wonder on the heart of a seeker of truth as well as much as the spiritual retreat from the material creatures. يدخل بها ميدان فكرة أي تفكر في مصنوعات باري الأرض والسماوات. So the isolation and retreat that will lead him to contemplation on the artistic creation of the earth and the heaven by the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وإضافة ميدان الفكرة من إضافة المشبه به للمشبه. So that is going into al-balagha explanation, okay, the similitudes and simile, أي فكرة شبيهة بالميدان لتردد القلب فيها كتردد الخيل في الميدان. So the fikra is used as a similitude to domain, because on the field where we put horses to race, so the horses race on and off, up and down as they wish. So the same way, the heart, okay, the heart also moves up and down, right and left, and about in the domain of meditation. Okay, so this aphorism can be further explained through reported hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which reads, "Tafakkuru sa'atin khayrun min ibadati sab'ina sana." Tafakkuru sa'atin khayrun min ibadati sab'ina sana. An hour of spiritual contemplation is better and more preferred in the sight of Allah to non-concentrating servitude of 70 years. Again, an hour of spiritual contemplation is more preferable unto Allah than a servitude and worship of 70 years. Okay, but however, there is a point to note here. If that ibadah of 70 years was done concentratively and seriously, and in accordance to the servitude request, then of course it will be always better and preferred to an hour of contemplation. But if the 70 years of worshiping is not as expected, okay, not based on concentration and based on pomposity and seeking for fame, then an hour of contemplation that is seriously into contemplation, okay, and the remembrance of Allah through meditation will be more preferred to that. So that is a very simple explanation of that hadith. وَذَلِكَ لِأَنَّهُ يُوَسِّلُ إِلَى مَعْرِفَةِ حَقَائِقِ الْأَشْيَاءِ وَتَزْدَادُ بِهِ مَعْرِفَةَ اللَّهِ. So that is because an hour of spiritual meditation and contemplation is preferred to that 70 years of worshiping, which is not based on concentration, because that an hour would lead us to ma'rifat haqa'iq al-ashya, the realization of the facts of things, of the truth of the things, the reality behind things. وَتَزْدَادُ بِهِ مَعْرِفَةَ اللَّهِ, and this in turn will connect us to the presence of Allah, to the awareness, to the spiritual awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَيُطَلِّعُ بِهِ الْمُتَفَكِّرُ عَلَى خَفَايَا آفَاتِ النَّفْسِ وَمَكَائِدِ الشَّيْطَانِ وَغُرُورِ الدُّنْيَا. And through that contemplation, the thinker, which is the murid here, the seeker of the truth, will be able to realize the secret, the hidden defections of the soul, of the self, as well as the tricks of shaitan, okay, of shaitan, and also you will also be able to recognize and realize the deceptions of the worldly matters. والعزلة التي ينشأ عنها هذا الفكر أحد أركان الطريق الأربعة. So this uzla, this retreat or spiritual isolation, through which this kind of spiritual contemplation comes in, is one of the four pillars of the Sufi path. So this can be found in the two poetical lines here. When he says, بيت الولاية قسمت أركانه ساداتنا أو قسمت. I think it should be قسمت. Okay, قسمت, not قسمت. Otherwise, if it is قسمت, then the arkanu should be marfu. Arkanu, then it will be fa'il al-majhul. Okay, so it will be, this one would be fi'l al-madi majhul, then this one would be marfu. Instead of arkanahu, it will be arkanuhu. But here, since we have sadatuna here, which is the fa'il al-hakiki, al-mu'akhar, then it could be qasamat. All right, we read again. Baytul wilayati qasamat arkanuhu sadatuna fihi min al-abdali ma bayna samtin wa i'tizalin da'imin والجوع والسهر النزيه الغالي. Okay, so بيت الولاية, the house, the room that connects to the closeness to God, to Allah, to the presence, to the divine presence, is divided into four pillars. The rooms leading to the divine presence through meditation is of four pillars. There are four rooms, as divided and explained by our masters and the leaders, the Arifun. So the first one is something, silence. Okay, ability to maintain silence. We are coming to another section. We are coming down to explain what is connected to the silence. Number two is i'tizalin da'imin, constant spiritual retreat, constant isolation. Wal-ju'i, number four is hunger. Hunger, that is, ability to keep the stomach empty of food, except when seriously needed. Number four, as-saharu, vigil, night vigil, keeping vigil, ability to wake up in the night, to keep the night awakened. So these are the four rooms leading to the presence of the divine divinity. Okay, as-samtu, silence, al-i'tizal, ad-da'im, constant self-retreat, al-ju'u, hunger, and as-sahru, night vigil. Now, explaining that, يوجهها قول الإمام أحمد ibn Sahl. So the explanation of those four can be found in the statement of Imam Ahmad ibn Sahl when he says, أعداؤك أربعة. أعداؤك أربعة. When he says, your enemies are four. That is, you have four distinct enemies. That is, as a seeker of the truth, as a murid, there are four enemies, four attackers that could deprive you from attaining the peak, from attaining the success. So these four enemies are ad-dunya, number one. Number two, ash-shaytan. Number three, an-nafsu. Number four, al-hawa. Again, number one, ad-dunya, the temporal world, the temporal presence. Number two, ash-shaytan, the devil, Satan. Number four, an-nafsu, the self, the spiritual self. And number four, al-hawa, self-deception. Self-deception of or self-aggrandizement. So these are the four enemies of seekers of the truth. Now, these four enemies, each of them has what promotes them. They have promoters, and they also have what counters them, what destroys them. Okay, they have promoters and they also have destroyers. So we go to ad-dunya, silahuha al-khalqu. The weapon that the dunya uses against the seeker of the truth is al-khalqu, the creatures, people around you. It uses people to distract you. Seeing people advancing materially in what issues and what matter, so you also want to be attracted to them. You want to be related to them. That is one. So what is the way out of that? The way out of dunya, sijinuha, the imprisonment of the temporal world, can be done through al-uzla, through self-retreat. Because when it sees you outside, when you are in the world, then you are enslaved to the world. But when you take yourself outside the world, then the world forgets about you. You are less concerned about the tribulations of the world. So the best way to avoid all the weapons is al-uzla, spiritual isolation. So that is a way to control and overpower it. Number two, the second enemy, ash-shaytan. So silahuhu ash-shaba'u. So the weapon that shaitan uses mostly is ash-shaba'u, overeating, eating too much of eating, overzealous eating. Okay, that is there's an English word for that, mongering. Okay, food mongering, mongering, M-O-N-G-E-R-I-N-G, mongering, food mongering. So we always want to be to satisfy, to eat to satisfaction. So the way out of that, to avoid the weapon, to avoid the evil of shaitan, is al-jaw, deprivation, to deprive ourselves through hunger. It doesn't mean that we don't eat. We eat when necessary. We drink when necessary, and we make our food and drinks from the permissible sources. Okay, so that is the second. The third enemy of the seekers of truth is an-nafsu, is self, the self. So in this aspect, an-nafsul ammaratu bisu. Okay, the evil directing self. Okay, the self that leads and commands one to commit atrocity or vices. So what that nafsu uses mostly is النوم وسلاحها النوم. Okay, the weapon that nafsu usually use mostly is sleeping, the love of relaxation, love of sleeping. Those who are great in the world in life don't sleep. Great people don't sleep. They work when people are asleep, and they contemplate when people are awake. So the way out is to imprison, to punish, and also so what we do is as-saharu. We engage in night vigil. We engage in night vigil. So then number 4 enemy is al-hawa, self-deceit, self-wanting, self-desires, self-deceptions, wanting to do what you wish and wanting to, we can liken this also to, what is it called? We can liken this also to desperation, self-desperation. Okay? وَسِلَاهُهُ الْكَلَامُ. So the weapon that self-desperation uses against the seeker of the truth is lousiness, al-kalam, lousiness, being louse, losing in speaking, being talkative, talking too much. And the way to avoid that is assumptive, keeping silence. Not to be in soliloquy, not to be in soliloquy. No, no one is asking anyone to be in soliloquy, to talk to himself or to, no, that could lead to self-suicide. That could be suicidal. But assumptive here is keeping silence in remembrance, while remembering, while meditating at the same time. So that is what it means. Okay, so واعلم أن الشأن في العزلة أن تكون بالقلب والقالب. So as a seeker of the truth, we should understand that what we are required to do, what we are the request for spiritual retreat and isolation is to be accompanied with our whole hearted attention in connection to the God, to the Lord, to Allah, who is the controller and the turner of the heart. بأن يتباعد صاحبها عن الخالق, by distancing oneself away from the Creator. وقد تكون بالقلب فقط, sometimes it could be just our connection with God could be through the heart only, while our body is with people. It could be possible. We are going to see that in AtaiLlahi, in the two poetic lines that we have at the last year. So sometimes for those who have mastered the way and the path, yes, people see you bodily and physically with them, but in reality and actual sense, you are actually heartily and attentively, spiritually in connection and communication with the divine presence. Okay, but what is the best form is to be bil qalbi wal qalbi. Okay, بأن يختلط بجسمه معه مع تعلق قلبه بالحق. Okay, by some time We are among people physically with our body, but our heart is in connection and communication with the truth, with the divine presence of God. As stated by Rabbi AtaiLlahi في مقام المشاهدة القلبية, in relation to the mushahadat al-qalbiyya, the heart presence, okay, the heart presence, the presence of the heart with what? With the Lord. It says, وَلَقَدْ جَعَلْتُكَ فِي الْفُؤَادِ مُحَدِّثِي وَأَبَحْتُ جِسْمِي مَنْ أَرَادَ جُلُوسِيَا فَالْجِسْمُ مِنِّي لِلْجَلِيسِ مُؤَنِّسٌ وحبيب قلبي في الفؤاد أنيسيا. ما شاء الله. رضي الله عنها وأرضاها. Rabi'at al-Adawiyya says, وَلَقَدْ جَعَلْتُكَ فِي الْفُؤَادِ مُحَدِّثِي, يعني جعلتك يا الله محدثي في الفؤاد. Al-Fu'ad is synonymous to Al-Qalbu. O Allah, I have made you as my discussant. I have placed you in place of a confidence in my heart. وَأَبَحْتُ جِسْمِيَ مَنْ أَرَادَ جُلُوسِيَا, and I sacrificed my physical body to those who want to enjoy sitting with me, to those who like enjoying my presence. That is, in order to avoid people talking about me, that I'm arrogant, I don't sit with them. Yeah, I sit with them physically, but my fu'ad, my qalbi, you, God, you are actually the one who is in the presence of my heart. My heart is present with you. فَالْجِسْمُ مِنِّي لِلْجَلِيسِ مُؤَنِّسٌ. My body, my physical body is mu'annisun lil-jalis, entertains my people, my visitors, my guests, people who sit with me, my companions. Okay, my body physically entertains people around me. وَحَبِيبُ قَلْبِي فِي الْفُؤَادِ أَنِيسِي. But my own entertainer, Anisi, my own entertainer, okay, is inside my heart. Okay, وَحَبِيبُ قَلْبِي, the beloved of my heart, my beloved of my heart, that is Allah, is Anisi fil Fuad, is the entertainer inside my heart, is the one who entertains me. That is, people enjoy my presence physically with them, but however, I enjoy my heart presence with the divine presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very simply put, so the aphorism encourages us to be sincere, totally and completely in our seeking, in our path to the divine presence, in seeking for the truth, and in everything that we do religiously. Okay? We should do it wholeheartedly and without doing it for the sake of any creature. We should rather do it to suit and please the Creator, not the creature. Okay, so if we do that, so then we hope, inshallah, we are going to gain the divine presence here and in the hereafter. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to further grant us success in this temporal world and in the hereafter. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. This is where we are stopping today, inshallah, until we again meet tomorrow in yet another aphorism. I leave you and myself under the guide and protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أستودعكم ونفسي في رعاية الله الذي لا يضيع ودائعه والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.